match the race. Work on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come. And if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Street where the lion runs do beat, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when they tell, come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with this chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra. Tell us how you slew them old Arabs 2 by 2, like the Zulus they had nice bows and arrows. Of how bravely you faced one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Let us hear you tell how you stand a brave Parnell and taught them well and truly persecuted. Where are the stares and jeers that you proudly let us hear when our heroes of 16 were executed? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Show your wife how you won medals up in Derry. You murdered 16 men and you'll do the same again. So get out of here and take your bloody army. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Oh, come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders.
Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Do that again. I didn't understand it that time. Take it easy. Yes, Mr. Hitler. Hitler started out in 1932. Hitler started out in 1932. When he started out...
Hello there, hello there, everybody. How the devil are we all? I am, okay, I guess. Thanks for asking. Yeah. I don't know how long tonight's show's going to be. I know it's going to be shit, though. So, like, that's... If you were wondering whether this was going to be one of the good ones... No. But I was bored. So I thought, what's on YouTube? Let's see what's on YouTube. And I saw a video that I thought might be worth watching with you all. So we'll do that, yeah? What do you reckon? Might be fun. Possibly. I don't know. How are we getting on? Great to see you, Kev. You look lovely today. Well, you are incorrect. You are incorrect. But thank you. Keith doesn't read. That is true. He is McBain, KC. Honestly, how do you become that successful a lawyer without reading? Did he osmose information about the case or something? Like a fucking tree. Or maybe he just guessed what was happening and got it right like an unusually massive amount of times. But anyway, we're not going to be talking about him a lot today. We're going to be talking about the man who should have been Prime Minister, which we'll get into in a second. Although it is funny. Oh, God. It's funny. You know, I've been harping on. About the fact that he's cancelled all these elections, these local elections. Well,
Stop it. Get some help.
Well, thank you very much. They've now had to go back on it, right? So they've had to, so they've U-turned on like trying to stop democracy, which is like bad enough in of itself. But they're now having, because the case was brought by Reform, the Nigel Farage's party, they're now having to pay public money to pay the legal fees of Reform. So my taxpayers' money is going to the Reform Party to pay their legal challenge for the government trying to stop democracy. So you've managed to make the fascist party look like the ones supporting democracy, you daft cunts. Like, even by the standards of ineptitude of the adults in the room, they have never adulted in the room.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
They've never been more fucking sensible. Honestly, they're fucking unbelievable, these people. Fucking McBain strikes again. We had noises. What noises happened? Thank you. The Ostian? I'll start that sentence again. Thank you to the Austrian degenerate, known as Fogel, for 33 months of Prime. Much love. Go and put your link in the chat for your book. Everyone go and buy the book. They've got a book. It's about the space or something. I don't know. Anyway, thank you, Carl Brown, for gifting membership on the YouTubes. Yes, you can help me out if you wanted to, chat, in the financial sense. Diversions of Avalon.gay. Is that a real fucking... Oh my God, that is a real website. That's the real website of your real book. Oh my God, okay. I was expecting it to be gay porn, which is why I put it on the other screen. There we go. Hang on, you can't see that. I've put it on the screen, but it's behind the fucking stupid picture I've got up. There we go. Look. Divers of Avalon.gay. It's even gayer than I thought it was. Amazing. Anyway, go and check that out. It works. All the web is gay, to be fair. Well, as Shakespeare said, all the world's are gay and all the players dicks. So I think he said that. Something like that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Stop it. Get some help.
Anyway, yes, you can help me out in the form of bits and subs and memberships and subscriptions and super chats and super thanks and gigantifying emotes. Why did I say that in the most sarcastic way? Oh, we're on a hype train. That's dope. Thank you, MB22K, for resubscribing for 9 months with Prime. Much love to you. Happy New Year, Giff. Happy New Year to you. Yes.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
No, the New Year's always shit, mate. New Year's always bollocks. Thank you to... Oh, my word. Bilderberg, with 10 memberships on the YouTube. I will suck you dry. I should probably stop saying that
Sometimes
for
it may
legal
be good,
reasons.
sometimes it may be shit.
Maybe. And I also need to turn the alert box off because that's going to go on 10 times. And we don't... Gennaro Gattuso is not welcome verbally on most occasions. Unless, of course, he's telling Israeli footballers to fuck off, in which case he's very welcome. But 10 times in a row, most assuredly not. My teats are heavy with milk.
It's a fucking disgrace.
That's all I have to say to that. Anyway, like I say, I've got nothing particularly special to do tonight, except just watch a video with you. And I might get bored of it and quit after half an hour. I don't know. I don't know. But if there's one thing, chat, that you know I like, it's having a look at briefcases, right? Briefcase knobheads. And if there's another thing I like, it's Magic Grandpa Hitler Jam Man. So you combine those two things, and what have you got? What have you got, chat? What have you got? You've got... Oh, fuck, I forgot the... Oh, bollocks. Bowler Hat Man! Fucking hell. I found the bowler hat as well. Hang on. 1 second. Yep. 1 minute. It was underneath stuff. It's dusty as fuck. Oh, hello. It's bowler hat time. How the fuck am I going to work this now? It's going to... There we go. I'll just rest it on the bridge of my nose and lean backwards like a twat for 2 hours. That won't hurt my neck. Anyway, he's talking about Corbyn. If you're going to come for the jam man, you got to go through me.
So we have passed yet another, of course, important milestone in the the Ukrainian-Russian war, shall we say. We are now, of course, officially in the 5th year of this conflict, and it's how do you know, the whole situation. And I say it every year. I really do mean this. I honestly hope, like, this is the final year. I've said it since, I've said it in 2024. I've said it in.
I think is this what counts as virtue signaling? Because, like, you don't need to say that, really. Like, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying it necessarily, and I believe that too. But, like, the fact that you're leading this off with, I hope that war ends. Like, how bland and pointless a statement is that? Like, yeah, we know. Yeah, obviously we all want the war to fucking end. It's war. The only people who want war to happen is fucking lunatics and, like, fascists and stuff. Vladimir Putin wants the war to continue. You don't even need to say it, really. There's a massive bot coming. No, I'm not twerking tonight. Ayo! They let me vote sometimes as well. It's mad.
2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. I honestly hope this is the year, the final year that this is over. But what I want is a just and lasting peace that is going to ultimately satisfy the Ukrainians. I don't.
Wow. Okay. Well done. Again, totally pointless thing to say, really. Not incorrect. Again, not incorrect. But who gives a fuck? Like, who's going to sit here and go, no, what I want is an unjust peace that won't last? Like, it's pablum, you know?
Care about satisfying Russia at all. They were the ones who illegally invaded, of course, Ukraine at this point. They don't deserve...
Okay, right. God, I don't want to go down the line of like realpolitik on this one, but like you kind of have to in a sense, don't you? Like, yeah, the Russians don't technically like deserve anything out of this, but that doesn't change the reality of the situation. I've been saying this for a while now, and I don't want it to seem like I'm being unsupportive of the Ukrainians, because I genuinely want them to get the things they're asking for, because all they're asking for is their own shit back. As broken and fucked as it now is, they want their own land back. They want Crimea back. They want Donbass back. It's not the end of the, they're not asking for anything that they didn't already have. They don't want anything from Russia. They want their own shit. But that's not like reality. Unfortunately, it's shit. It sucks. But like, is there any point fighting until there's just rubble? Like, is there any point carrying on with this shit? There's no point doing sunk cost fallacy, especially when that sunken cost is just more and more blood. At some point, this has to fucking stop. Try and preserve something of Ukraine than nothing of Ukraine. Do you know what I mean? So at some point there has to be some sort of deal done. It sounds horrible. I don't fucking like it. It's gross. But the entire situation is gross. The world is fucking gross. We've got a situation where the President of America is like, oh, I'm just going to take Greenland or abduct a head of state. There's no fucking justice in any of this. What you want and what is just and what is actually possible are three separate things. And if you can't be grown up enough to accept that, then like maybe keep your thoughts to yourself, because they're fucking pointless.
Deserve anything whatsoever. They deserve absolutely nothing. Not only that, but it needs to be a peace that can basically ensure that Russia does not come back and restart this war in another...
How do you do that? Like, that's impossible. Oh, God. There's no guarantee of anything. There's no guarantee that anything couldn't happen in the future. You can't... Pardon me. It is very dusty. Actually, you get the joke. Bowler hat. Fuck's sake. Anyway. That's a pork pie hat, Kev. No, it's not. Shut the fuck up. Right. What was I going to say? Yeah, you can't guarantee that the fighting won't happen in the future. There's no peace you can possibly have that will guarantee that this doesn't happen in the future. Because as we've seen with peace deals that have happened in the past, like literally, the denuclearification, if that's the right word, of Ukraine, the Russian government, the new new Russian Federation, as it was, the post-Soviet state of Russia, signed up to, right? And guaranteed Ukraine its sovereign territory and its borders, including Donbass, including Crimea, right? The actual proper full Ukraine that we had before 2016. 2014? 2014 was the invasion, wasn't it? I can't remember. Anyway. Yes. So, like, and that didn't guarantee anything. Because, within fucking 20 years, they were back. Invading Crimea. Fomenting fucking bullshit in the Donbass. Because, times had changed. A new political leader, a new political structure, a new political paradigm had evolved. Not a good one. Right? Not a good one at all. Not one I support or like. But one that exists. And that's just the reality of it. So there's nothing that we could put on paper now that guarantees any such thing in 10 years. let alone 20 or 50 or 100. Like, it's just not, that's not how fucking reality works. All you can do is set down a plan that hopefully lasts. Hopefully. That is a good freeze frame as well.
8, 10, how many years later down the line, because, you know, they just think that they can, for some reason, just like they started this war to begin with as well.
Well, I mean, okay, this is true, right? And I don't want to do whataboutism, but I feel like I sort of have to. It's difficult for Western political operatives to hold any kind of moral ground on this. Not because it's not right to criticise Vladimir Putin and the Russian army for what it's done, or what it might do, but because the Western government, Western governments are guilty of the same and worse. Like, you can't go on about the rules-based order and international law and the family of nations, etc., etc., whilst also abducting world leaders and putting them on trial for owning guns in their own country. You can't hold any kind of moral, consistent position on invasion, aggressive warfare, genocide, bombing civilian territories, etc., when you're literally supporting Israel doing exactly that and worse. More people have been killed, more journalists have been killed, more children have been killed in Gaza. So you literally can't hold a moral position. The British government can't say with any kind of sincerity to Vladimir Putin, you should follow international law, because they're not following international law. And it gives an easy out to people like Vladimir Putin, because when he gets criticised like that, on the odd occasions he does have to answer like a difficult question at the UN or something, right? He can just say, well, America just abducted Nicolas Maduro. Like, at least we only abduct and kill our own citizens, which isn't really true because there's Ukrainians, but we only kill our own internal political enemies. We don't arrest people and fucking extradite them like that. We don't illegally blockade Cuba for the last fucking 60 years. Yeah, Epstein, yeah. Like, literally, he can just turn around and be like, rather than looking at the problems of Europe, how about you sort out your own fucking child rapists? Like, you've literally got the child rapist's best friend as the President of the United States. Sort your own fucking shit out before you come fucking giving moral fucking lectures to anybody else. And it's gross. It's really, really fucking gross. Because he shouldn't have those outs. We should be able to hold a consistent line on international law, which then gives us the moral clarity to say, don't fucking invade Ukraine, you prick. But we can't. We just fucking can't. What in the fuck is this now? That is... Oh... Okay, I mean, it's actually quite cool, I suppose. Thank you, 255. Your powers of creativity know no bounds. Putting on the curve. Young Frankenstein. Well, they do call me Abby Normal. They don't say that.
It's something that we need to seriously look at, and I have said on a lot of occasions the left is very, very bad when it comes to foreign policies and even situations like the whole Ukraine.
Oh, the left is bad at foreign policy. Doesn't he claim to be on the left? I don't know anymore.
War, where they are making up insane, bizarre conspiracy theories, like, as we'll see in a moment, Jeremy Corbyn going in on the whole, oh, it's all Boris Johnson's fault.
it is partly Boris Johnson's fault. Like, he definitely did push very strongly for them not to sign any kind of ceasefire deal. Like, that's a thing he definitely did. Now, he's not superhuman and he's not the president of fucking Ukraine, so he didn't get, like, to actually make that policy. Ultimately, it comes down to the decisions of Vladimir Zelensky and his cabinet, right? But Johnson had his hand in there, definitely. Oh, that's just undeniable.
We'll get to that in a moment. Don't worry. But yeah, this as we'll get into in a moment is what infuriates me still, because still to this day there are people on the left who do not seem to understand this conflict, fall for ridiculous, blatantly, provably false conspiracy theories, all because you know, America bad, so if America's supporting Ukraine, then I'm immediately going to go against Ukraine.
I mean, there are some weird tankoids who take that perspective, but I know for a fact that Jeremy Corbyn does not. Jeremy Corbyn has called the Russian invasion of Ukraine illegal, and called for Russia to remove its armed forces from Ukrainian territory. He did that when he was leader of the opposition at the time that this fucking happened. Or at the time of Crimea, was it? I can't remember. Anyway, I remember him saying it was bad. And I remember people criticising him. This is the thing, right? Unfortunately, and I don't mean this about Bowler Hatman, but some people on the kind of Labour right or the kind of middle ground of politics or whatever you want to fucking call, I don't know, take the opposite sort of approach. Not that necessarily America good, but like that the Secret Service kind of state is always correct, even though we know from Iraq that it isn't. We know from the WMDs they've got fucking weapons that can be released in 45 minutes, all this shit, right? It's absolute nonsense. They will and do lie about these things. And so when they say a thing, you just believe it, regardless of whether it's true or not. And I feel like you're falling sort of into that trap a little bit as well. Because, like, if you remember at the time of the Salisbury poisonings, you know, in Salisbury in like 2017 or something, two Russian agents, one of whom is now in the Russian Parliament, bizarrely, went to the town of Salisbury in England, lovely leafy kind of town. They've subsequently claimed they went to see the cathedral there. No, they went there with a perfume bottle filled with Novichok, which is a nerve agent which kills people. Anyway, they went there to kill a specific former KGB agent person who'd maybe turned or something, and his daughter, called Sergei Skripal, and his daughter Yulia Skripal, by putting the Novichok on their door handle. Now, thankfully, neither of those two people did die. But a British woman did die, because unfortunately her then boyfriend found the perfume bottle and gave it to her as a gift, thinking it was actually perfume. And she sprayed it on herself. And she died. So they murdered a British woman. That's awesome. Anyway. And at the time, quite rightly, the then leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, otherwise known as Adolf Hitler Jam Man, just quite rightly said, let's wait and see what's found about this, because everyone instantly went, Russia, it's definitely Russia, and he went, should we actually see what happened, rather than jumping to conclusions and saber rattling and like maybe getting it fucking wrong. How about we just fucking wait and see, which surely is the sensible approach to this. But no, the fucking media military complex wanted to go, no, fuck it, Russia, we need to go to war with Russia. And he was criticised for that. For the fucking basic. of just calling for a fucking calling for patience whilst investigations were ongoing. They're fucking mental, these people.
On that one, because they're supporting it, and all these military companies that are now getting all this money for building weapons during a war.
How come they get all that money when we're not in a war then? How about we just spend less on military stuff that we don't need? How about you stop licking boot?
Anyway, let's get on into this, shall we? Because I think once again this needs to be addressed. Whenever this comes up, honestly, this should well and truly be addressed on this one. So here we go over to the YouTube channel of one Katie Helper.
Very much the Eva Brown in this situation. Yeah, because he's Hitler.
And her show, and she had Jeremy Corbyn on discussing NATO, the whole Arctic situation up there. This entire section itself, how NATO kept expanding after the Cold War, could have just been an entire video itself. I may come back and revisit this entire video at some point.
Oh, Hitler was German, was he? Vogel? You sure about that? You sure he was German? You're right, he wasn't British, but he was German, was he? You sure about that?
You are coping and seething.
Because there's just so much bullshit that's said on this. And bear in mind, if Katie Helper ever sees this video, I am more than willing to come on and we'll have a discussion about Ukraine. By all means, we'll have a discussion about Ukraine. But I'm not going to be nice, if I'm honest. I'm not going to be nice at all, because I think when you continually spread this and you have...
So much for the tolerant left! Except he's not really left. Opinions on my last paragraph. I don't think I read your last paragraph. He's a sex pestiny orbiter. You know, I once assumed there would never be a title better than Top of the Slops. What? Oh, okay. Seeing this guy on screen makes me sad that we have our own version of Hutch on the UK side of politics content creation. I wonder if he'd say he would vote for Epstein over Corbyn like Hutch said he'd vote for Epstein over Hassan Piker. I don't think he's as bad as that. Like, don't get me wrong, he has Corbyn derangement syndrome, but I don't think he'd say he'd vote for Epstein over Corbyn. Sorry, Epstein, to pronounce it correctly.
Spread this time.
Sorry, I'm hearing news David Baddiel's just had a heart attack? Oh, interesting.
Or ridiculous misinformation for so long. There is no reason to be nice, to be honest, at this stage in the game. So... let's get on into this. So here they are, they're discussing the end of this, and they're about to go into these sections. Quote, why a ceasefire was, quote, possible, Boris Johnson's role in blocking that ceasefire, arms companies profiting from, a war. Not horror.
Honestly, I'm surprised we can hear him this audibly with that boot all the way down his throat. That's impressive. Are you being puppeted by a ventriloquist right now? Is that what's happening? I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, there's so much in this, but I want to get into this whole Boris Johnson thing, because this is just so provably false on this, as you'll see in a moment. So let's begin, shall we, on this one.
A huge mention.
Oh well, hang on a minute. We've got big news in chat. From Vogel, who is Austrian. Fun fact, Adolf and I, so you're on first name terms with him now. That's a bit weird. Adolf and I both applied to the same art university and neither of us got in. Okay, I think we definitely need to put Vogel on a watch list then. Honestly, I think all failed arts people, and it doesn't just have to be like painting or drawing or anything like that. Basically any arts type thing. You know, Charlie Kirk, failed arts freak. Ben Shapiro, failed arts freak. Stephen Crowder, failed fucking arts boy. You know, like all of these people. If you're a failure at art, it turns you into a fascist. The failed artist to fash freak pipeline is very well established, and we need to break it at source. So as soon as you fail at art, James O'Keefe, exactly. What was his song? Oh, for fuck's sake, I can't even remember what it's called now. Anyway, I've played it on the stream like a million times, and I've literally forgotten what it was called. Oligarchy. Yeah, that's it. Hey. Was Steve Bannon a failed arts dude? I don't know. Adolf Hitler re-elected in Namibia for the 5th time and is finally changing his name. The 59-year-old has had to explain his unfortunate moniker for years, though it has never hampered his successful political career. A politician called Adolf Hitler has been re-elected in Namibia. The 59-year-old member of the Southwest African People's Organization, SWAPO, has has represented Umpudja in the Oshana region since 2004. A respected anti-apartheid campaigner. He has found himself having to explain his name for years and has stressed he has no link to the Nazi leader. Local newspaper The Namibian reported earlier this week he has now removed the name Hitler from his identity documents, so he's just Adolf Uonona. Apologies to all Namibians. Shortly before the 2025 election, he told the paper he wants to be referred to as Adolf Uonona in the future, concerned that being referred to as Adolf Hitler was creating an image problem. Yeah. Despite having comfortably won previous elections. My name is not Adolf Hitler, he told the Namibian. I am Adolf Unona. In the past, people have called me Adolf Hitler and tried to associate me with someone I don't even know. Following an election in 2020, Mr. Unona told German newspaper Bild that he had nothing to do with Nazi ideology, explaining that his father probably didn't understand what Adolf Hitler stood for. German names are not uncommon in Namibia, which was a German colony between 1884 and 1915. As a child, I saw it as a totally normal name, he said. It wasn't until I was growing up that I realised this man wanted to subjugate the whole world. I have nothing to do with any of these things, he said. Well, you know what? On that one particular example, you do have to hand it to Adolf Hitler. Okay? Just saying. Adolf was a popular name in Sweden. Well, I mean, it was a popular name before, the obvious. I remember there was a woman I used to work with whose, I think, sister or something was having a baby, and she brought in this baby book, and she was looking through it because, estrogen is a powerful drug. So I flicked through it at lunchtime. And you have to look up the silly ones. Gaylord was in there. And then Adolf, right? So, and it was Adolf, like, blah, 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 of German origin, such and such, blah, blah, blah. Not as popular as it once was. That is the most delicate way you can possibly describe that. It's not inaccurate. It's not remotely inaccurate. But it doesn't hint at any reason as to why it might have decreased in popularity in recent times. Because if you're reading a baby book, you're probably not looking in there for historical tidbits, are you, really? Anyway. There's a beautiful place called Floda in Sweden, and Nazis love it as it's Adolf backwards, fuck's sake. Nazis are mental. And it is Adolf backwards, yeah. Is Benito still popular in Italy? Probably, because I don't think Benito Mussolini is remembered in quite the same way. Like, I'm not suggesting he's remembered positively in most cases, because he isn't. But, like, there's less Holocausty shit. Like, it's bad, but it's not like Hitler bad. even though he was mates with Hitler. But like, you know. Yeah. Anyway, from one Adolf Hitler to another Adolf Hitler to another Adolf Hitler.
Presence of anybody on the border of somebody else provokes a reaction.
It's Adolfception tonight.
And this is where the failure of international law, international peacekeeping, and international order is so obvious that the Ukraine war.
Has Jeremy Corbyn, and I don't think he ever has Jeremy Corbyn ever actually admitted that prior to 2022, you know, which country was the one breaking international law through all this? Which
Israel. Basically, you can basically add any year you want to in that sentence, right? Since the creation of Israel, and go and just add any year into that, and the answer to that question is always Israel, because Israel has always been breaking international law. Its entire existence. Yeah. Basically, the existence of Israel is one long crime spree, when you think about it.
Which country had broken Minsk 1 and Minsk 2 repeatedly? Because it wasn't Ukraine, it was Russia, continuously. Why, if, again, international law should be followed? It is what keeps...
you should really tell the leader of your party that. Sir Keith Stonger, Casey. Sir Queer Harmer. McBain. You should tell him that. You should tell him, as a fucking human rights lawyer, that you really ought to follow international law and not, like, constantly break it for your favourite genocidal ethno-state. Maybe. Because then, the good thing about that is, A, breaking laws is generally bad, so, like, you know, but also it means that you can actually have a straight face when you tell Vladimir Putin to not break international law. Because you're not a hypocrite at that point, because you yourself are not breaking international law. You see? It's good, that, isn't it?
Our entire international system stable. Why then are we not pointing fingers at the country who is perpetrating international law, which led to them invading another country?
I agree. Why aren't we pointing fingers at Israel? We really ought to be. You're quite right. Oh, wait.
How are we not? How are we still here at this stage of the game? It is unbelievable. But this is it. And remember, this is Jeremy Corbyn. This is the guy who a lot of people on the left look to as like this symbol of like good and righteous and like good decision making. Yet seems to be.
Okay, I thought he was going to do the obvious, like, they think he's fucking perfect. They think he's the magic grandpa. Motherfucker. There is no one on the left that thinks that Jeremy Corbyn is a bastion of good decision-making. Look, I like the guy. I think his politics are generally pretty fucking spot on. But when it comes to decision-making, he's fucking dreadful. It's one of the reasons that he ultimately failed as Labour Party leader, and failed to even become your party leader, as in the party your party, not your party as in Labour, because he was the leader of Labour Party and is not the leader of your party, as in the party called your party. Very sensible name, Sultana.
Physically impossible of saying, yeah, actually, Russia was breaking a lot of international rules and norms prior to the 2022 invasion. Just how are we still here?
Was now dragged on for all these years. Goodness knows how many have died. And at the end of the day, everybody knows they're going to have to settle for something that was well on offer 3 years ago.
So, Ukraine is going to have to settle for something well on offer that was, quote, 3 years ago. Let's remind people what was in that offer 3 years ago.
Well, no, to be fair, he said well on offer, not the exact offer that was being asked for. Because, like, no one goes into a negotiation with their final offer as the starting offer. Obviously, Russia were pitching their shit far too high, and in theory, you negotiate and it comes down a bit. So I think you're being, at best, ungenerous, and at worst, frankly fucking disingenuous, when you say that Jeremy Corbyn is suggesting that they should have just taken the exact offer that Russia put on the table 3 years ago. Which is basically the same as what they're offering now. Because I don't think that's what he's suggesting. If he is, then he's wrong, but I don't think he is.
Okay. It pretty much amounted to the complete capitulation and, like, would have amounted to Ukraine's subordination to Russia.
Pretty much,
That was essentially what Russia was offering. It was absolute maximalist terms, which they still push to this day, and still push for these maximalist terms. They have not changed their demands in any way, shape, or form since then. Even, as far as I'm aware, at the time of doing this video, they are still pushing for those maximalist demands. That we will have all this territory, including territory that we haven't taken. We demand that you never are allowed to join NATO. We get a say over your democracy, who's in charge. If we don't like it, we can kick them out.
I don't think you can functionally say that Ukraine has a democracy right now. They haven't been holding elections for quite some time. There have been internal clampdowns on political opponents. Didn't a former cabinet minister get arrested trying to leave the country recently? Like, there's some dodgy shit going down there. Again, that doesn't mean that their cause is any less righteous, because they've been invaded. They're the ones defending themselves. But, like, that's not a democracy at that point, We didn't have elections in World War II. That is true. And I would suggest that functionally we were not a democracy during World War II. Not just because we didn't have elections, which would have been unfeasible, especially with the amount of people we had abroad, but secondly, we had a prime minister who was entirely unelected. He wasn't even in the cabinet at the start of the war, let alone the prime minister. And there was very, very strict. Again, understandable. I'm not suggesting that it was fascistic or anything like that. In times of war, extreme things happen, right? There were very, very significant restrictions on freedom of the press. Literally, like we now know all about the different bombings around the country, right? The Blitz in London. There was the Birmingham Blitz. The fucking Clyde Bank got absolutely eviscerated because it was loads of shipbuilding. So the Germans targeted it like fuck, right? But a lot of that bombing got suppressed. They didn't learn about that until after the war. And this, you got to bear in mind, this is pre-internet, pre anything. Basically, there was basically the radio and newspapers. That's it. So if you curtail both of those, unless you're travelling between place and place, which most people weren't, you would never know what the fuck was happening 100 miles away. So basically, unless the only thing you knew about was the bombings in your city, because they didn't publish shit about bombings elsewhere. So we didn't have a free press. We didn't have a free press. We didn't have We didn't have elections. We had internment of foreign nationals, even though they hadn't committed any crimes, as far as we were aware. That happened. Not in quite the same way with the Japanese in America, but like there were people who were foreign nationals who were interned, who had committed no crimes. So we basically gave up habeas corpus. The British government can just decide you are a national threat and lock you up for indefinitely. That happened. Again, I'm not saying the exigencies of war don't entail that sort of thing. Okay, it's extreme, but your cities are being bombed. You're in an extreme situation, but that means functionally we were not a democracy. We just weren't. Now, to be fair, as soon as it was possible to become a democracy again, we did. They held an election straight away after the war. And to be fair, there was also a national unity cabinet, which had Labour Party members in there, and I think there was a Liberal as well. Like it was a genuine composite effort. So it wasn't as if there was no... It was just like Tories running the fucking show, because it wasn't, you know. Attlee was literally the fucking Deputy Prime Minister under Winston Churchill. Which, by the way, was a really big thing for him winning the election, because he could say, I've got, I've got experience in governance. And he could say, I had a legitimate role in winning the war as well. Which takes away one of Churchill's unique selling points, because it's not unique. Anyway, the point being that democracy is difficult during a war. Look, it's still balmy to me that during the American Civil War they held a national election when they didn't control like half of the nation. What? Okay, cool. I mean, good on them for trying. You know, it was fucking mad.
You know, your army is basically reduced to the size of a nothing burger, at which point we could just roll in and just, you know, take your country, because your army is just so small it is incapable of defending your own territory. They were only allowed like 12 artillery guns in that deal, was what they were pushing for, just to show you like the size of like how much they wanted to like slash down the size of the Ukrainian military. All the stuff that they were pushing for pretty much would have made Ukraine a vassal state to Russia.
Yeah, basically, I guess. But I don't think that's the deal he's pushing for. So I don't even know the point you're really making here. But other than trying to smear Jeremy Corbyn because you don't like him, I guess. Thank you, Marcus Drake, for resubscribing. Oh, shit, I got rid of the thing. You know, I once assumed there was never be a title better than Top of the Slops. Well, thank you. Thank you. It's a good history joke and a good anarchism joke. So, if you get the joke inherent in this title, we can be friends. I don't know why I pointed up when on both platforms the title is below me.
Should the Ukrainians have accepted that? Like that is a genuine question I would love to put to Jeremy Corbyn. Knowing all that, knowing like that deal that was on the table, should they have accepted a deal that amounted to them pretty much being made a vassal state of Russia? Like, would Jeremy Corbyn, if he was Ukrainian, would he ever accept that? I don't think he would, something tells me. But
okay. But he's not arguing that Ukraine should take that deal.
This is his weird mindset that he has when it comes
honestly, the Jeremy Corbyn derangement syndrome needs to be studied, because like he hasn't been a politically relevant figure for like 5 years now. Let it go. Let it fucking go. It's like if someone was still doing Pepe Frog memes in 2026. Like it's over. Leave it. Kick.
the situation.
With a resurrection of Minsk 2, and
I love it.
Minsk 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, resurrection of Minsk 1, Minsk 2. Which country broke those?
Okay, but dickhead, like, what's your plan then? Because every single deal you could propose, you could just say, oh well, Russia will just break it. So there's no point in your ideal. Then there's no point signing any fucking deal. There's no point trying to look for any negotiated settlement to this. What we should just have is a perpetual fucking sum across all of eastern Ukraine. A 500-mile trench warfare sum fucking meat grinder for the next fucking 100 years. Like, yeah, you can just naysay and be like, oh, well, they broke this deal and they broke that deal. Okay, well, let's not sign any fucking deal then. Let's just let Ukraine turn into a rubble-strewn fucking field of corpses. Is that better? Do you feel good? Do you feel morally superior now? arm Ukraine, help them fight more. That would have been possible at the very start, okay? And this is how you know that NATO never gave a fuck about Ukraine. Because if they had done, they would have armed them far more at the beginning and allowed them to actually push the Russian army back. But they kept drip feeding just enough supply to keep the fight going. Because this is the thing with a proxy war. When it's a one-sided proxy war, i.e. you're able to arm one side against not just another side that's being armed by your enemy, but against your enemy. So you're not in the actual fight, but your enemy is in the fight. You need to maintain stalemate, deadlock, because that constantly keeps draining the country that you're against. Usually, and this is why you get a relatively short war, like happened quite a lot during the Cold War, is that you would have the US camp and the Russian/Chinese camp would arm two different armies in a civil war. But neither of those actual sides are fundamentally hurt by that. But in this case, the actual army is the one in the fight. So you can basically drain all of the resources and life out of your enemy at the expense of the Ukrainian people. So it was possible. It was possible at the very start of this to just arm them more and that would be fine. Whereas now, the Russian positions are relatively well entrenched. I don't think they're going anywhere. Unless we give them, like, fucking nuclear bombs or some shit. I don't see that they're going to be able to push them back. You got to bear in mind, the Ukrainians have lost a lot of fucking people. And it's not a matter of letting the Russians win. It's a matter of, like, what can be saved of Ukraine at this point? Because what's the point in holding a stalemate over an ever-increasing pile of corpses and rubble? Because there are basically entire cities in Ukraine that have been turned into wasteland, where tens and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people would have lived, and now it's basically non-existent. What was the city, the Avastal place, was it Zaporozhye or whatever the fuck it was called? Was it just absolutely fucking devastated? How is that in the benefit of anybody to allow that to continue? So it has to stop at some point. You can't have never-ending war. Mariupol, that's the place I'm thinking of. Yes, Mariupol, which is just basically again non-existent now. A thriving port town that no longer exists. How do the Ukrainian people benefit from this? It's fucking awful. So it's not a matter of letting Russia win. It's a matter of trying to allow Ukraine to survive. Because it's not surviving right now. It's dying. And as always, it's the fucking working class that cop the worst of it. Not only are they the poor bastards having to fucking give their lives for the fucking bloodlust and stupid fucking imperialist wish of Vladimir Putin, but you can guarantee the elites on both sides, they're not the ones having to live in the fucking rubble. They're fine. The arms companies are doing brilliantly out of this. It's fucking gross.
Oh, right. Russia did. Every single time. So if we are going to have Minsk 3, right, how then do we assure that, again, if we are meant to be looking at, international law, and it is like the highest thing, and how do we do it? How then do we make sure Russia follows international law and keeps to its word if it would sign a...
Well, you can't. Ultimately, you genuinely can't. So, is your point here, don't bother signing anything, just do war forever? Because, there's no way of guaranteeing that any country sticks by international law. How can we make sure that Britain sticks by international law? Because we're fucking not. How do we get America to stick by international law? How do we get Israel to stick by international law? How do we get fucking Saudi Arabia to stick by international law? These fucking people, like, as with the Jeremy Corbyn derangement syndrome and as with fucking Pepe memes, international law is basically dead at this point. We know it is. Because as we have seen with Israel, if you're in our geopolitical bloc, the law doesn't apply to you. We'll absolutely say that what Vladimir Putin is doing is fucking disgraceful. But what Israel's doing is fine. What America's doing is fine. What Saudi Arabia is doing is fine. But if Iran so much as fucking sneezes, the media are all over it. The Ayatollah wants us all to die of COVID. Iran planning to fucking do a big fat wet shit all over your fucking grandma's face at Christmas. Okay, I've gone off topic there. But the point being is that, you know, international law is just a weapon that the West uses to try and beat people with. It's not something that applies to them or that they ever stick to.
In Minsk 3.
Team America is relevant, but it's so annoying, the end bit. So, like, Team America is a really good piece of, like, silly satire on that whole neocon adventurism shit. But the bit at the end where the main character gives that fucking impassioned sort of Hollywood-style speech about, you know, America's sometimes needed sometimes, and blah, 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 blah. And it's just liberal wank. America isn't the good guy. It isn't needed. It's the fucking problem in so many cases. America isn't like a good faith actor that sometimes gets it wrong. America is the great Satan. It just fucking is.
He doesn't have an answer for that, because that would require military solutions. It would require boots on the ground. Jeremy Corbyn does not want to commit to that.
Is that what you want? You want other people to go and fight and die in Ukraine for your fucking, what, international bloodlust? What is it? Because Keir Starmer wants it.
I think we should just be pushing for a ceasefire, and if there is to be a meeting, as apparently there is this week,
pushing for a ceasefire is fine, but unless you know what you are going to do and how long what your aims are for that ceasefire, like to get some sort of lasting deal, then just pushing for a ceasefire is just kind of pointless. But the Ukrainians know what they want and have been pushing for that. Now we know there's a meeting happening, I think, fairly soon, I believe. I think they bring it up in this video as well.
Okay.
We don't know what's going to happen in that meeting. I suspect that once again it's just Russia playing for time, trying to make it look like, oh yeah, they're negotiating. We've seen this tactic play out so many times. Almost that Russia have done this every single year. Of, oh yeah, we'll have talks. We'll go into the meeting, then they'll come out and go, oh well, Ukraine was just absolutely professional. They were not, willing to.
So let's not bother talking. Okay.
To negotiate or anything like that. When all Russia went in, here's our list of demands, and unless you accept every single demand, we are not going to do anything. We want you to basically capitulate first before we even start to talk about what you might get out of that. And that is how these talks have gone, repeatedly. Has Corbyn ever gone on the record and chastised Russia for like their negotiating style? I don't think so.
Again, between
I have no idea. I don't know if he has.
Russia, United States, and Ukraine, good. It's a shame it didn't happen 3 years ago.
Exactly.
good. It's a shame it didn't happen 3 years ago. Except it did. Like, negotiations did happen as soon as, like, the Russians invaded. Like, talks were being held in Turkey between the Russians and the Ukrainians, but the Russians were basically, yeah, here's our list of surrender, points that we want you to do. And if the Ukrainians had agreed to it, it would have amounted them to basically becoming a vassal state to Russia. Why would the Ukrainians accept that? And why would any country accept that?
Yeah, and all these people who frame themselves as really caring about Ukrainian lives and listen to Ukrainians were happy to sacrifice all these people who died.
Wait, what? So, according to her, we are, quote, happy to sacrifice Ukrainian lives.
I don't think ultimately you care about Ukrainian lives. I won't say that you're happy to sacrifice them, but you don't care that they're being sacrificed because you're so, like, geopolitics brained about this. You're so trilateral commission about this that you just don't care, fundamentally. They're just like a thing that it just gets in the way of the problem. It's whatever. You're just like, you're the mental general just pushing men around a map, forgetting, of course, that there are human beings there. Hearts of Iron. It's a video game. He's viewing it like a video game, except of course it's real fucking people. An entire nation of what was 40 million people. It's a lot less now because lots of them have died and lots of them have, either temporarily or permanently left, which is understandable. No one wants to be in a fucking war zone, obviously. A nation that was 40 million people being absolutely eviscerated. And you don't care because it's like, our team's good, their team's bad. Basically, you're sort of the corollary of the position you were chastising earlier, the America bad people. But you're just doing the Western powers NATO good thing. You're the opposite. You're the mirror image of the thing that you think you oppose.
No, we're not. Like, every life that has been lost in this war is a tragedy. Like, let's not mince words. Every life that has been lost in this war is a tragedy. But to say that people who push back against this nonsense that we've just done, oh yeah, you don't really care about Ukrainian lives. This was a man who, at one point, could have potentially been in charge of the UK.
And would have done a significantly better job than the guy who is currently not reading documents in Downing Street. Like, as if you are going to be a member of the political party that has Sir Keir Starmer, Casey, the most unpopular Prime Minister in the history of the fucking universe, and being like, imagine if this guy had got in. Oh, we'd be in a right shithouse.
Would have potentially been in charge when this crisis kicked off. What would have our response have been had Corbyn been in charge to this crisis?
Well, he literally said that he supported the Ukrainian people and was fine with the UK government sending aid to the Ukrainians. So, like, what do you want him to do? Like, he literally said that shit. Like, he never got an opportunity to put it into action because he was never Prime Minister. But he did the thing that you would need to like, prove the basic point, right? Because that's all he could do is just say a thing, and he did. And that's still not enough for you because this is not based around any actual critique of a political position. This is just Jeremy Corbyn bad. You're just a Jezza bad. Jam man Hitler. Arrgh! That's your position. Summed up is Jam man Hitler growl.
And bear in mind how important our role has been in helping the Ukrainians in this, not only just providing them equipment, civilian, humanitarian aid, training in this. I don't think half that stuff would have even happened. I don't think a single weapon would have been sent.
What's your basis for that? Vibes.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Yeah, that about sums it up, I think.
Had Jeremy Corbyn been in charge, I don't think a single weapon had been sent. And then how would the Ukrainians dealt? Well, they probably have used something else, but we've seen the effects that they've had using some of our equipment, from Challenger tanks to Storm Shadows to, you know, air defense equipment to the end.
Literally, the fact that he can like name the specific types of weapon just shows me how like it's Hearts of Iron. It's just he's that guy. Yeah. He's so soy over this. This is very soy, yeah. This is almost like NAFO levels of soy, you know? Or NAFO, whatever. That thing. You know, Doge for Ukraine. Funny.
Laws right at the start of the conflict. That equipment would not have been there. How many Ukrainian lives might have been lost had that equipment not been there?
I have no idea. But like you can't say that he wouldn't have sent it because you don't fucking know. And just as a general thing, right? Just as a general thing, like there is literally no way I think that you can possibly argue that the UK would be in a worse situation overall. I'm not even talking about just the Ukraine thing. That the UK would be in a worse situation if Jeremy Corbyn hadn't won in 2019. There's no way you can argue that to me, because I won't fucking accept it. It's bullshit. Boris Johnson was a fucking disgrace. Theresa May was a disgrace. Actually, no, Theresa May was before that, wasn't it? Rishi Sunak was a disgrace. Liz Truss did kill the Queen, so we'll say score draw. Rishi Sunak was a fucking disgrace, and don't even get me started on fucking McBain, Casey. Just don't even fucking go there. We'd be in a markedly better situation if Jeremy Corbyn had been Prime Minister in 2019, had he won that election. So, like, don't even fucking like. You're literally in the party of Keir Starmer. He is your leader and has fucked it royally, and you're out here being like, imagine if this fucking clown would have got in. We'd be in a bad situation right now. Unlike the paradise that we have created under King Starmer. Behave yourself.
Unnecessarily, because of people like your very own Boris Johnson, getting in the way of diplomacy, as he famously.
Boris Johnson never got in the way of diplomacy. That is so.
Well, he definitely did when it came to Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe. So, like, yeah, no, actually, yeah. But they're referring specifically to Ukraine, so let's not be pernickety about the specific wording of it.
So ridiculous, and the fact that people on the left, and as you'll see in a moment, Jeremy Corbyn, still engaging in this ridiculous conspiracy theory that along came Boris Johnson and just went, oh no, you can't have peace. That's not what happened. It was not the reality that was going on at the time.
Okay, but he definitely lobbied for them not to sign a ceasefire deal. We know that that's true. We've seen the messages.
You know, on the ground in Ukraine.
He did. with Zelensky and Putin.
Boris Johnson's involvement was catastrophic for Ukraine and for everybody else. I mean, he is a man with an enormous regard for his own abilities and his own ego.
True.
And, he informed Zelensky that he was a sort of latter-day Churchill, and that Zelensky...
Well, to be fair, he was fat and mental and couldn't talk properly. So there are some similarities. Also very racist. Another thing they had in common, you know. So there are some similarities. But you know, Churchill was also, you know, a little bit inspiring and well loved in a way that Boris Johnson is not. Also, Winston Churchill was born here. Boom. Just saying it. Just saying it. Look, I'm just saying. Look. Oh God, I had this. Okay, so I have to explain, right. My father is an Irishman by birth. And by accent and mentality. Anyway, when he gets annoyed at his children, he will sometimes refer to us as English bastards. Right? Which is funny. That's always been really funny to me. And we'll go like, oh, fuck off, you fucking mud savage. Go fuck off back into the field, you turnip fucker. You know, that sort of thing. And I've got a new one with him recently. He said the other day, I went round for dinner, like Sunday dinner at his house. He was very nice. And I held myself to seconds because there was some going. And he went, "You fucking English bastards." He said, "You've been eating Irish people's food for fucking centuries," right? Which, fair play. Like, that's, you can't even knock that. But I just went, look, when our Nige gets in, right, you lot are back on the fucking boat. You're gone, alright? You'll get rid of all of you. You fucking... He nearly pissed himself laughing. We had a really good chuckle about that. Which, like, that shouldn't be funny. That shouldn't be funny, but he's white enough that he probably won't get deported. And he's old, so, like, he'd probably be dead. Mm. But, like, you know, that's the humour we have, he and I, where I joke about my father being deported. I remember, oh my God. It's like an Irish family thing. I think if you're Irish, you understand this, right? I was, the first week I went down to, well, no, our Nige is a joke. That's the joke. I'm pretending to be racist, right? But the first week I went down to uni, right? I had a flip phone. This is how fucking long ago this was. I had a flip phone. Anyway, a flip phone that took a picture of me at the dispatch box in Parliament, by the way. Just saying. Anyway, I had a flip phone, right? Anyway, my dad rang me, right? And I was sat there with my mate, right? We were drinking, getting ready to go out for the night. And I said, "Oh, it's my dad. Like, shut up." So I flipped my phone up, looking cool. And I went, "You're right, dickhead." Because that's just how we talk to each other. Like, literally, that is how we interact, right? Like, usually it would be, like, heartbreaking to have your father call you a cunt. But my father's Irish. So he uses the word cunt, like, every other fucking word. Cunt is, like, punctuation in his sentences. Instead of going, he says the word cunt. You fucking cunt, cunt, right? That's all. That's the way he speaks. So when he rang up and I went, "Oh, you're right, dickhead," and my mate's face, like, just like it was, he couldn't fucking believe it. He couldn't, and he said to me, "Was that really your dad?" I went, "Yeah, that was my dad." Yeah. He went, "And you answered the phone like that to him?" I went, "Yeah." I went, and his dad was from Middlesbrough. He said, If I answered the phone like that to my dad, he would literally drive straight down from Middlesbrough and come and fucking beat the shit out of me. And I said, "That's because you're English. You're too prissy, you English. You're too stuck up. Sometimes you've just got to call each other a wanker, and that's it. You know? Pretending you love each other and all that shit. Fuck off." If you're ever in real trouble, I'm there for you. Otherwise, leave me the fuck alone, you know? That's family. Like, I've had this. The fucking heaven, right? The concept of heaven. You get to spend eternity with your family and friends. I don't want to spend eternity with my fucking family. You'll notice, chat, right? I could be spending time with them right now. Well, probably not now, because it's fucking 20 to midnight. But, like, I could have been spending time with them this evening, couldn't I? I could have gone round to see them. I fucking didn't. And on that front, like, market forces dictate, you know, who you want to spend time with. And I don't go and see my fucking family unless they need me. If they need me, I'm there for them. Or if it's like a funeral, so I've got to sort of be there. Duty calls, you know. That's it, you know. That dickhead is now on Hansard. I'm not in Parliament. What are you talking about? I'm not in Parliament yet. Also, when I was... Well, I'm not in Parliament as in I'm not an MP. But even when I was in the Parliament building, they don't keep a record of visitors saying stuff. Hansard isn't like fucking Big Brother listening through the walls at every fucking conversation that's ever been had. Although what I will say, you know my friend who died recently, John? He was on that trip as well. And it's one of my fondest sort of silly memories. Because you couldn't smoke inside. So we had to go out for... And he smoked a pipe. Because he was an old man. Although he was only in his 50s then. Anyway, and we... actually, no, he was only in his 40s then, I suppose. Yeah. Anyway, and we went and stood outside of St Stephen's Hall, which is where the gunpowder plot and all of that happened. And it was like literally in the shadow of Big Ben and all that. And we just sat there having a smoke. And it was fucking weird. It was like a really weird... Because it was like... We'd done this outside of like a dozen different pubs in Brom, right? Or outside of a dozen different fucking, like, you know, political meetings or whatever. Or just in his fucking kitchen. And then we were doing this thing, the same thing we would have done anyway, but just out, you know, in the fucking flowery garden in Parliament. It's fucking mad. Imperial culture. I mean, it is. Look, I can understand how people get overawed by that building, because there's something like fucking mental about it. There is something really like it's like when you walk into a massive cathedral. I can understand how like a medieval peasant would absolutely buy into like the structure of the church or whatever, because you walk into a cathedral and the only building you usually go into is a one-level mud shack. Like, you live in hovels all your life. And on the odd occasion you go to like a proper big ass church in the town, in the city or whatever, and you see this building that's like 10 times bigger than any building you've ever been into before, with massive great fucking marble, you know, domed arches and fucking balustrades and big fancy wooden lattice roofs and shit. And you're like, yeah, I guess God must have made all of this fucking shit, because, like, people can't make this shit. How the fuck would a person even get up that fucking high? It doesn't make any sense. You know, that sort of thing. Like, that the awe that you would feel in that surrounding. Because you go there, and there's statues of, like, people you've never even fucking heard of, who was like, oh, this was the Home Secretary between 1827 and 1843 or whatever. And you're like, I don't even know who this cunt is. And he's got a fucking statue in bronze in Parliament. This kid's great-great-great-great-grandkids are all dead now. Do you know what I mean? You've got, like, fucking bits from the suffragettes and fucking Churchill, and there's a big fucking, what do you call it? Fucking... what's his name? Richard Lionheart. There's a big fucking statue of him outside on a horse. He's a cunt, but like he's a historic cunt. Like the kind of power of millennia upon you. I can understand people getting fucked up by that, you know. Like it's intense shit. They see the square mile and think this is the UK. Well, yeah, basically. Yeah, the Soviet soldiers staring at the ceiling of the Winter Palace. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Or like the fucking French peasants storming. Well, not necessarily the Bastille because they'd seen the Bastille, but like Versailles, because they march to Versailles and they take the king and queen back into Paris, wearing the cockade, the revolutionary bonnet. So when they went into Versailles, what must they have? They had gardens with peacocks in them. There would have been French people who'd never seen a peacock. There would have been French peasants that walked through the grounds of Versailles to steal the king and queen, who would have never seen a peacock and gone, what the fuck is that thing? What is that? The fucking... Is it a bird? It's a colourful fucking chicken. You seen this cunt? Do you know what I mean? That'd mess with your fucking brain. I don't remember what I thought the first time I saw a peacock. Because I was like 2 or something. So I was like, bird. Richard the Lionheart was named after Richard Madeley. Why do I read these things in chat thinking they're going to be sensible? When it's obviously going to be, oh, he's named after Richard Madeley, or it's going to be fucking Beadle-related shit, or it's going to be 255 with a Mr. Streamy. Fucking end me.
There is no evidence, right, that Boris Johnson went up to Zelensky and went...
If it was English, they'd have called it the gay bird. Would they have been wrong? Would they have been incorrect in calling it the gay bird? It's a very gay bird. I'm not sure it's the gayest bird. There are some pretty gay birds out there, but it's up there. It's basically a living sequin. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very gay. The flamingo is pretty gay. That is true.
Oh, there you go, chaps. I'm the modern day Churchill, don't you know? Blah, 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 blah. Whiff waff. Right. Okay, what was going on in the background, right, at the time that Boris Johnson arrived? Right, if you do not understand...
He was being ambushed by cake. Maybe. I don't know.
What was going on the ground, then... You do not understand.
Was this before? Was this before or after he died of COVID? I can't remember.
Reason why there was a rejection and why the Ukrainians decided to no, we are going to keep on fighting. So first of all, as we've said, there was basically negotiations going on in Turkey between Ukraine and Russia.
Turkey, that's a different type of gay bird.
These incredibly maximalist surrender.
Sue Perkins is the gayest bird. She is pretty gay, to be fair. She is extremely gay.
Capitulation demands that, as we've said, would have made...
Also, is Sue Perkins the skinniest butch in the UK? I think she might be.
Pretty much Ukraine a vassal state of Russia.
Good night, Fogel.
That was essentially what was on offer. Not only that, but prior to that, they were having successes. They were slowing down the invasion. Like, if you remember the whole columns to Kyiv that they were...
That was amazing.
Slowing those down.
To be fair, remember, it's not difficult to slow down a single file tank column. Because, like, again, I've said this before, worst formation ever. What you want to do is have a very small flank and quite a broad front. Ideally with some protection at the side, because your flank is basically, other than the rear, your weakest position. Whereas with a single row of tanks, you're essentially all flank. Every bit of you is flank. To be fair, the one advantage is very small rear. Because it's literally just the back end of one tank. But your front is also just the front end of one tank, and then the rest of you is 2 sides of flank. Very, very easy to attack. Like, I genuinely think I could have done this. I could have slowed down. Give me a rocket launcher and I could slow that fucking column down. Because you just aim at one of them. As long as you hit one of them, everything behind it then becomes a fucking traffic jam.
The airport had not happened. Or if you remember, Russia tried to force a landing at the airport just outside of Kyiv, and the Ukrainians pushed.
She's futch. She wears mate. Is that femme butch? See, this is the thing, right? I am a little bit gay, but I'm not like a little bit gay. So, like, hear me out. I'll fuck a dude, but I don't know anything about gays.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Quite literally, Gattuso, yes. Sorry, Gennaro, we don't know each other that well. Yes. Yeah, like I don't get that culture. I don't understand it. I quite like it. I'm not against it or anything. I'm not like being homophobic. I don't get it. Futch is a term used to describe a lesbian, bisexual, or otherwise sapphic female or feminine-aligned non-binary individual who presents with a mixture of feminine, femme, and masculine, butch traits. So yeah, femme butch. Futch.
Them out. It pretty much wiped them out. That had yet to happen, but that took place not too long before that.
I'll be honest, I've stopped listening to this guy, so I don't even know what he's talking about now.
That was a big event that showed, yes, we can win and we can slow them down. And not only that, but they were pushing them back. And guess what? As they pushed them back, they got to a place called Bucha. And I think we all know what happened there. And that made the Ukrainians realize we cannot surrender. We cannot negotiate with these people.
Okay, so considering that much worse than Butcher has happened in, say, Gaza, does that mean the Palestinian people shouldn't negotiate with Israel? Because they can't be negotiated with these people. Do you see? You see how you're just, like, being weird? Bowler Hatman blames JC for every traffic jam. Well, I'll preserve my judgment on that.
Because we cannot trust them. How can we trust a country that said, well, we'll follow, Minsk 1, don't you know, and then didn't follow it? That illegally seized Crimea that has been...
Futch has its own flag. Does basically every gay type thing has its own flag, doesn't it? Okay, alright. See, this is how sports-brained I am, chat. Right, so this is the LGBTQIA plus wiki. So that's the original Futch flag, right? Lovely. Multicoloured. Then there's this gender fluid one. Now, the next one, right, or Futch fluid, yeah. The next one is, I read the thing and it says lip gloss Futch. But what I saw was 2 cricket bats. The second I saw that, I thought, what, cricket Futch? Which, like, if there are any cricket Futch that want to go down Edgbaston with me during the summer, let's go. Is the neck one woke Sharia? No, it's Black Futch Community Flag by the Gender Thieves. Okay. And then there's the Butch Femme symbol, which just looks like someone with lopsided hair, but okay. And then, there's loads of flags. There's too many flags. I'm sorry, there's too many flags. Is there a single person in the entire world that knows all of the gay flags? I guarantee there is not. There is not a single fucking person in the world that knows all of the different types of gay flags. There's too many of them. You can't, some of them are really similar. It's like country flags. Like, you could absolutely mistake the Irish flag for the flag of the Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, right? Because they're basically the fucking same. No, I've clicked the wrong thing. Okay, I can't show that. I can't can't fucking show that Anglo-punk. But if everyone else wants to go and look at it, I'll describe it for those who are just listening. It was the ISIS flags with cocks and stuff. They made the ISIS flag out of like penises and were there tampons in there maybe or something as well? Cocks and dildo. I think there's a cock ring. Is that anal beads? I think. Yeah. Some dildos. Yeah. Okay. There you go. ISIS flag spotted at gay parade. Oh, that's that flag. Oh, okay. So remember that there was a fake fucking outrage on the right. Oh, the ISIS flag was at the gay pride parade. It wasn't. It was cocks and stuff. It was people taking the piss out of ISIS. But the right wing don't understand satire because it suits their purposes not to understand, so they don't try.
Funding, rebel groups, and that entire quote civil war in Donbass, where Russian soldiers were just dying. But Russia wasn't at war. Why were all these Russian soldiers seemingly dying? Or they were coming to the aid of like these quote rebel forces when the Ukrainians were making advances in there every single time. Why are some of the quote leaders of those
Okay, if this doesn't get very interesting very soon, I'm going to bed. Because it's like 10 to midnight. This is fucking dreadful.
Rebel groups in those places, basically big figures in like Russian politics and things like that. What?
8DX man, you're quite right. There are as many flags as there are people because everyone's a little bit different. True. Make your own fucking flag. I got my flag. It's not really a gay flag as such, but it's a bit gay.
They couldn't, like the Ukrainians, when we
It's both gay and Islamist.
Not trust Russia.
Is cock halal? Probably not, right?
We cannot trust them with this. And even if we did sign this agreement, how do we know that they're just not going to come in and just take more or demand more at a later date? So they decided to fight. And for some reason, Jeremy Corbyn cannot get his head around the fact that that is what the Ukrainians decided to do. Not because of Boris Johnson. Remember, Boris Johnson only came there because of the successes that were going on. Namely at the airport and the fact that they were really successfully pushing those columns back. But, oh no, it's all somehow Boris Johnson's fault. Which, again, Russian propaganda. Because this plays into a much larger, bizarre Russian propaganda piece where, like, Boris Johnson was, like, secretly leading this SAS commando raid.
Okay, it got a little bit more interesting. I want to hear more about this.
I don't know about you, but I don't think Boris Johnson bumbling about would have made a successful SA.
I don't know. I saw him on that zip wire. It was very funny.
Yes, commando raid. But that's part of the propaganda. That...
More like an SOS raid. I hate myself.
Russia pushed, and yet this is still people on the left, Jeremy Corbyn here, falling for it. Still to this day in 2026. Like there is no excuse to be continuing with this nonsense that somehow Boris Johnson was at fault. Because they do not acknowledge what was the situation going on the ground, they do not acknowledge what Russia was pushing for, and they do not acknowledge that, yeah, the Ukrainians decided...
Okay, I'm bored with this. What's this? Stray dog wanders into gorilla habitat. Okay, I assume you've sent me this because the dog doesn't get, like, killed.
Hey, the dog's coming down here, guys.
Hurry, come here.
Go down the steps right here.
Come on.
Look at the steps. Look at the steps.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Yeah, one curious dog was almost a goner here after learning the hard way. A bad idea sniffing around a gorilla enclosure.
The dog jumped into the gorilla pen at the San Diego Zoo on Sunday to check things out, but those gorillas were in no mood to adopt a pet. Reporter Jamie Chambers has the story from San Diego.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Dog coming down here, guys.
That's the same bit of footage. Hang on, there's talking.
Distance, and zookeepers at the safari park recall the gorillas to their feeding pens for an extra special treat. Then the San Diego Humane Society comes to the rescue.
When I showed up into the gorilla enclosure, he did look very nervous, afraid.
Yeah, I can understand that.
That is a cute dog.
Franklin the gorilla made it clear he wasn't going to let this dog, no matter how friendly, anywhere near his family.
See, this went down.
Safari park staff say this pup was one of 3 loose dogs that ran into the park, but was the only one flirting with possible disaster.
Dog probably felt like he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
What are you doing in here?
Officer Samantha Clark from the San Diego Humane Society says she's been on a lot of animal rescues, but rescuing a dog from a silverback gorilla is one for the books.
You can tell he...
Oh, Papa. And then what's this? Oh, hang on. No. A video... Lesbian dating app goes viral with hilarious bowling ball ad.
Because why is that
Oh, God.
legal in broad daylight? Think of the children. Hey? You know. Some decorum.
Oh. Oh, that's lovely. Why does San Diego dress its animal rescuers in cop uniforms? I just assume everyone in America dresses like a cop. That's just how, that's the headcanon now. They're all just cops. Which by the transitive property means all Americans are bastards. Eleven 12, everyone. 11-12. That could be our number. We'll just do 11-12 and no one will even know what it means. Anyway, yeah. Don't forget to end your YouTube before you start doom scroll. Yeah, I was on. I didn't even realise until someone like fucking messaged me. Yeah, I was doom scroll. Well, I wasn't even doom scrolling. I just go on shorts and I just look at the different bits of silly shite, and I was still live apparently. Thankfully, I didn't do a fucking dark side fill and start jerking it. You know, that would have been bad. I mean, you wouldn't really see it because like all you see is the top half of my body, but you'd know the faces. You know. Ooh. Anyway, so I'm definitely gonna make sure I turn you all off before I turn myself on. Yeah. No, I was just watching some like comedy shit, really. Oh, Helena's going, so I'll send you over there. Go and say hello to Helena on the YouTubes. Is she going? I don't think she dual streams anymore, does she? So who's going on Twitch? Who is going on Twitch? Hannah Reloaded. Let's double up on the trans love with Hannah Reloaded. And I'll be back. Well, it's 4 minutes to midnight, so it'll be probably tomorrow. I think should be on maybe with Christy on Friday for a happy hour. Maybe that's what's being that's out there as a possibility. But in the meantime, chatterinos, free Palestine, and free your own minds. Stay beautiful. No pass around.